Okay, a question that I get from a ton of you is, where do I start if I want to start a podcast? And I love when answers are simpler than we expect them to be. So I want to tell you about a resource that's changed the game for us with our podcast, and that is Spotify for podcasters. If you want to start your own podcast, Spotify has a platform that makes it so easy. You upload your episodes and then Spotify actually distributes it everywhere onto all platforms and even helps you earn money so that it can be profitable for you and a blessing for you, your family, your people. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit your podcast literally from your phone or your computer. So if you don't have a fancy setup, it's okay. You can immediately get started today. Then again, you distribute it to Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are available. You can also do video podcasts, which sounds like a dream to me. And when you want to take conversations with your people to the next level, you can do Q&A and polls, all sorts of fun things. You can earn money with ads and podcast subscriptions, or you can just get started using what you've got for the good of others and the glory of God. Check out Spotify for Podcasters. I use it. I love it. I highly recommend it. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app. I have it on my phone, highly suggest, or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started today.
Welcome to the Go and Tell Gals podcast. I'm your host, Jess Connolly. I'm an author, a Bible teacher, a coach, and I'm obsessed with helping women take their place in the kingdom and use their God-given gifts. At Go and Tell Gals, we equip and encourage women with different tools like our Map to More guide, our group coaching program, Go Teams, and even by training other women as coaches through our licensing program. Whether you're a college student, a stay-at-home mom, a small business owner, an astronaut, or a veterinarian, our goal is that you leave this episode feeling more empowered to do what God has called you to do. We're so glad you're here and we're on your team. Let's jump into this week's episode. Welcome to one of our Monday mini podcast episodes. You know how when people say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but, well, I don't know who needs to hear this, except for I'm assuming it's you because you clicked play on this. And I'm assuming that you did not click play on this episode in particular if everything is going easy all the time, or if everything has always gone easy for you. And so here is our good word for this Monday, for this week, for this year, for this life. Just because it's hard right now does not mean you're doing it wrong. Just because it's hard right now does not mean you're in the wrong spot. Just because it's hard right now does not mean that you are somehow a failure and that it's not going to get easy. In fact, I'd encourage you with this. Everything that's worth doing is hard. I don't know anything in my life that has been valuable and worthwhile, that has impacted the kingdom, that has been easy. There have been moments of grace. There have been moments where I've experienced momentum in different areas of mission. But in everything I've ever done that's been worthy of doing, there have been moments where it has felt incredibly hard. And because of that, on the other side of all of those moments, there have been times where I have been so grateful that I kept going, even though it was difficult. Here are a few different things for you to think through. What you're handling right now might be difficult or hard because you need help. Here's the great news. You can ask for help. No one expected you to be an expert all the time. And no one, including God, expected you to be able to handle every single thing by yourself always. What you're handling right now could be hard or difficult because of spiritual warfare. For many seasons of my life, I would look at other people's lives and think, why does everything seem easy and tidy? And number one, the answer is it probably wasn't. It just seemed that way. But also because I think a lot of people that I was comparing myself to might not been in ministry or in mission or had their hands deep in something that felt so spiritually arduous. And I'll be honest with you, some of the breezier seasons of my life have been because I wasn't in the thick of it, up against the enemy, fighting on several different fronts. Be feeling like everything is difficult and broken and heavy and hard because the enemy of your soul knows there is victory on the other side of this season. What you're handling and what you're dealing with right now could be hard because you need rest. You could actually just be tired. And here's the great news. Our God gives rest to those he loves. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be through with the fight. You don't have to be finished, but you can take a night to sleep and say, God, you do what only you can do. You can take a weekend off. You can take a Sabbath. You can take a break and take a pause with no real understanding of when you're going to come back to the fight. But if you need a rest, the one thing you probably can't keep doing is keep pressing in at the same capacity that you're at right now. What you're dealing with and what you're handling could be hard or difficult because you need to shift how you're doing it. Maybe you're trying in a way that is no longer working. Maybe it worked in the past and it's not going to in the future. The good news is you have access to the God of the universe and you can pause and ask him, how am I doing this? Is it correct? Would you like to shift? You can ask for help and ask for advice from someone who might know better. You can just look at your own soul and take a quick stock of yourself and say, does a shift need to happen here? Here's something else. What you're dealing with could be hard just because it's hard, just because it is, just because the nature of it. I think about childbirth. I think about a million different things in this world that are worthy and good and also painful. But the pain is purposeful and there's no getting around it and there's no beating it here on earth. What you're up against could be incredibly difficult. But that doesn't mean it's wrong or you're wrong or that you need to quit. Pause. Take a breath. Take a beat. Take a rest. Assess how you're fighting spiritually. Ask for help. Shift how you're doing, what it is that you're doing, but in the name of Jesus, continue on with this hope. Blessed is she who believed that what was spoken to her by the Lord will be fulfilled. Luke 1:45. God is leading you. He will fulfill every promise he has made to you. It can be hard, and you can keep going if you're supposed to, in the name of Jesus. You are listening to the Go and Tell Gals podcast. You can find us at goandtellgals.com online or Go and Tell Gals on Instagram or Facebook. We would be so honored if you had a minute to leave a review wherever you've listened to this episode. Share it with your friends and let us know that you're listening. We're so grateful for you. God is mighty in you.